Just tell him what to do. Oh, actually, I'll do that.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the ordinary meeting of Mount Isa City Council. Mount Isa City Council acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, the Kalkadoons, and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. And I'd also like to extend that respect to any of Australia's First Nations people that are present today. Please note that this ordinary meeting of the Mount Isa City Council may be live streamed and recorded in accordance with the Council's recording of council meetings policy. As a visitor in the public gallery, your presence may be recorded. By remaining in chambers, it is assumed that your consent is given if your image is inadvertently broadcast. I'd just like to start off with saying that Mount Isa is united in their grief with Western Downs and the entire country, and we pass on our thoughts and prayers to the family and loved ones of the two brave police officers and the heroic farmer who lost their lives on Monday. Can I please ask that we stand for a minute's silence? Thank you. And I have reached out to the Mayor of Western Downs on behalf of the entire Mount Isa community, and I've passed on our thoughts and prayers, and I've also reached out to the Mount Isa Police and also passed on from the Mount Isa community our thoughts and prayers. So with that, I'll hand over now for our prayer to Pastor Keith Christie. Oh, Pastor, can we just get you a microphone? Is that okay? Sorry. Otherwise, I can't hear you on the live stream.
Lord, we just pray for the families and the loved ones of those police officers. Father, you said in your word that you'll comfort those that mourn. Father, I just pray for the comfort of the Holy Spirit to be over that family and the loved ones of those young policemen, Lord, that lost their lives. And Father, I just thank you so much for the first response officers that we have in the police and the fire brigades and the ambulance, Father, to put their lives on the line for each one of us every day. I thank you for them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
And Father, I just pray for this council meeting today and this council. I pray, Lord God, that for wisdom and understanding in all things that they have to deal with each day. Father, give them the wisdom that's above wisdom, Father God. The wisdom of God that passes all understanding, Lord. I pray that they have wisdom, Father, to take this city to great heights, Lord God. I pray that they have wisdom to bring this city to the forefront in our nation, Lord God. And Lord, I just pray for the provision to fulfill those visions that they have for this city. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we have no apologies and no leave of absence, and do we have public participation today? No? Yep. Okay. All right, so we'll just just jumping from screen to screen here. So now we'll just pause for casual for a cause. Thank you. And we haven't got anyone here, have we? Okay, so every Friday, the Mount Isa City Council staff dress casual for a cause, and they all donate money every Friday. And this month is Movember. And Movember is a global movement that involves growing a moustache during the month of November to raise awareness for men's health, from prostate cancer to men's mental health. Their mission is to help men live happily, healthy and longer lives. Now, the staff raised $246.35, and we'll be donating that money in due course. So a big thank you to all the Mount Isa City Council staff. Very proud of this initiative, and it's an ongoing one that's been going on for a couple of years now. So thank you so much for that. And, that moves us on now to item 5.1, which is the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 16th of November 2022. Can I get someone to move the officer's recommendation, please?
Through the chair, did we have public participation or no?
Did we have, oh, sorry, Godfrey, I did ask the question, but I wasn't sure if you were getting up. Oh, sorry. No, by all means, sorry, I did ask, but I might not have had the microphone near me. Yep, we'll get you a microphone. Thanks, Godfrey. They usually do, but if they don't, we still take it.
Sorry, I ask again, did you receive the participation request? Did it turn up with the management?
Through you, Madam Mayor, it may have happened. My responsibility if it hasn't occurred, so my apologies to you.
No, I didn't receive it, Godfrey, but we have noted that just at the moment we're getting a lot of external emails are going into quarantine, and some are going straight into junk. So we've just noticed just recently that we've had a few people ring up and say you haven't got back to us, and then we've looked in it and they've been either quarantined or in junk. So we seem to be our system's working too well, our security system at the moment.
As usual, I put in a written report directly to your gentleman behind the counter, and I asked him to please pass it on so I could attend the meeting today. So obviously that didn't work.
Yeah, so my apologies for that,
Okay.
Godfrey.
I have a copy if you require. In August, I put in a service request to change a traffic sign at the PCYC car park going back into the swimming pool car park. It says no entry coming back. It says only one way going into the PCYC car park, and it says no exit on that side. The majority of cars that leave from that PCYC car park don't bother about it, they just drive out there. I think it's not safe, and the police could charge them if they so wanted to. I proposed to put a give way sign there, which would also ask the drivers to be careful, give way to any traffic that wants to come in or is parked there, and then drive out, and then drive into town and things like that. I did not ask to change the exits from the car park onto the main road. There's one from the swimming pool car park, there's one from the playground car park, and there are two from the PCYC car park. I didn't get any answer till October. I provided another service request asking why not. It somehow fell through the cracks as well. And then I got a letter in November, unfortunately one day after the council meeting, and that letter was from your manager of major projects, in which he says that the council is aware of traffic problems and they consulted or will consult with Main Roads and then put it to a consultant agency that would then be discussed in council at the future monetary availabilities, and I should ask again, put my views again up then. Now, I did not ask for road changes. I did not ask for the entrance to the main roads to be changed. I simply asked to consider changing a no exit to a give way. If the council member, manager, whoever deals with these things, thinks that my request is nonsense or doesn't apply, please say so. I can live with that. But making it so as if I asked for an enormous amount of work and an enormous amount of money to be spent on things, no, I never do. And you should know that. So please review my request and see what can be done. I think the question should be, is my request as safe as the existing one? Or is it safer or not as safe? That should be the thought. I believe it's safer because the way it's now, cars that want to go into town have to drive right around the copper smelter, cross several lanes, go through traffic lights, and that's why they don't do it. I do go, besides going to PC Vice, I also go swimming in the morning. And 2 days ago, when I went back to my car, 6 cars out of 7 drove straight through that no exit sign. The other car took the other way. So it might indicate you what the public thinks about that. Okay, that was my first question.
Well, with that first question, we have a new interim CEO, Dale Dixon, so he's going to take that on board, and we will come back to you with what we're going to do about that.
Yeah, thank you.
So, and I think maybe there was a bit of discussion when you came in that time, and we talked about a lot of things, so maybe that it got diluted, your actual real request, which was to look at a giveaway sign instead of an exit sign. So we'll chase just that up at the moment, so you can get some clarity on that one.
Yeah.
And the second one, please.
Yeah. Mark, you
Sorry.
have an extra little barb to fire. I'm used to the council taking a long time. My raised blinkers at the cat's eyes at the roundabout at the Catholic Church, that took 1.5 years for the council to change. So a month here or there, it's neither here or there. It's just, I believe it's safe. The other one is the old cemetery from 1929.
Yep.
Over the years, I have a few times gone to council and said, please clean it up. Today is my day to ask again, please clean up that old cemetery. It deserves the same honour and the same as the big one does.
Can I just ask, is that the one that's just got the little...
Yes, and a stone inside.
Yeah.
That's the one, yeah.
And
It's
I don't think a lot of people even know it's there. So, yeah, I think that we can definitely look into that one because
fine.
Next year's 100 years, as you know,
Yeah.
and these are our pioneers in that cemetery.
A wonderful access road was built.
Yeah.
Through the chair, can I just, with that one, Godfrey, it is on the list that they do go out and clean it, but there's been, they do, but not regularly, they do go out, but I just think with everything that's happened, the crew's under a little bit of pressure at the moment, so, but we can take that on board and get that done.
Yeah, it certainly hasn't. And I think it should be done. At least somebody should go once a month and have a look at Cape Power
Yeah. Oh.
It's not a big deal, it just needs to be done.
No, that's right, and I think it should be part of our normal maintenance schedule. You know. So, thank you for highlighting.
Thank you very much for...
It's an area that people don't often think about, and I've only been there a couple of times myself, and I've lived here all my life. So yeah.
Thanks. It's just
Thank you.
because I do walk around and do things and I see things. Thank you very much for listening.
No,
I wish the council happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and hopefully healthy next year. You might see me again, or hopefully not, but you might.
Thank you, Godfrey, and I hope we do see you again. I think it's fantastic that you come here and you point out things because we don't always know everything that's happening in the community, and we do need that community engagement where you let us know what's not working, and so that's what we're here for. So it's great to have you here, and I hope I see you a couple of the councillor in the 2023. Merry Christmas. Okay, and apologies for before. So that takes us now to item 5, which is the confirmation of previous meeting minutes. Can I get someone to move the officer's recommendation, please?
I'll move, Madam Mayor. Thanks. That the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 16th of November 2022 be received and the recommendations therein be adopted.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this or any comments?
No, thanks, Madam Mayor.
All right. All those in favour? And that's carried. That takes us now to item 6, which is actions from the previous council meeting. Outstanding actions from the previous council meeting as of the 12th of December 2022. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation, please?
I'll move, Madam Mayor, that council receives and notes the outstanding actions from previous council meetings as at the 12th of December 2022.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Is there any comments with this one?
No, thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll just say that there's a couple of items there that we're all looking forward to going ahead, and there's some. They're all in progress. The Centennial Place is the one I'd highlight there. So the construction is out to happen around about the end of January, I believe, from the reports. Yeah,
Oh, that's wonderful.
thank you.
Okay, and then that takes us to declarations of conflict of interest. And I have a conflict of interest with item, I find it, 14.4. As I am involved in the complaint referral. Is anyone else with any conflicts of interest on that?
Nil from me, Madam Mayor.
Oh,
Nil.
anyone?
Nil.
Thank you. And that takes me to the mayoral minute.
Through the chair, can I just ask something on this one? Because this wasn't received 24 hours before, just to the CEO. This wasn't received 24 hours before the meeting. Is that okay to do
Is
that?
the mayoral minute?
I thought you needed 24
Is
hours
that the mayoral minute?
for everything with the meeting.
Oh, no, the mayoral minute I can,
Just do whatever.
yeah,
Okay.
all right. All right. Councillors, as you're aware, there are a range of concerns in the Mount Isa community regarding public safety, crime, and the parliamentary inquiry recommendation of decriminalising public drunkenness, and the supply, standard and location of social and other housing. I want to acknowledge the financial and emotional toll that this has taken on the community, and this isn't usual for Mount Isa. Mount Isa is experiencing high levels of public drunkenness from hundreds of visitors who have left their homes and communities and are coming to Mount Isa. And they're either camping illegally in the Leichhardt River or overcrowding friends and family in local housing. As a long-life Mount Isa person and now Mayor of the City, I believe we need a coordinated whole-of-government and whole-of-community approach to the problems we are currently facing. It's time to identify and assess what actions which have been implemented successfully in other regional cities and towns and develop a model based on the problems being experienced in the city that would work best for Mount Isa into the future. Importantly, there will need to be a commitment to identify the government and community stakeholders who will be willing and able to work with the council to establish the best future model for Mount Isa. Importantly, of course, the above work would ideally complement our current advocacy and actions, and certainly does not mean that these should be put on hold. It also doesn't mean that council will be committing to a greater funding contribution to address social issues in the city. However, council leadership and collaboration with all levels of government, traditional owners, non-for-profit, and the local community efforts is what is expected. For now, I suggest that a council decision to support the recent North West Queensland ROC resolution regarding the proposed decriminalisation of intoxication, begging, and public urination in public places, summarised as follows. that the North West Queensland ROC advised the Premier of Queensland of its strong opposition to the recommendation of the Community Support and Services Committee to decriminalise the offences of intoxication, begging and urination in public place, unless and until all of the appropriate community-based health and social welfare responses recommended in the report are in place and adequately funded to undertake these increased responsibilities. I therefore propose the following resolution: that Council endorses the development of a comprehensive view of current problems and concerns relating to community safety, vulnerable persons and housing in Mount Isa via a whole government and community stakeholder consultation process, and the development of a future action plan and governance model for Mount Isa in 2023. That the CEO provide a report on the proposed approach relating to the above to the Council in February's meeting. That the Council support the recent resolution of the North West Queensland ROC conditionally opposing the proposed decriminalisation of offences of intoxication, begging and urination in a public place until the appropriate community-based health and social welfare measures are in place. This support being linked to Part 1 above, which is intended to develop an action plan which would, amongst other things, include identified health and social welfare measures relevant specifically to Mount Isa. Can I get someone to second that motion?
I'll second, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would anyone like to speak? Any comments on this motion?
Madam Mayor, I just thought it stopped short of talking about the youth crime, which is also probably mixed up to with this problem to some extent.
It actually definitely is a big part of this. So the whole purpose of getting everyone to the table is about exactly what I said right at the beginning, to do with public safety, crime, public drunkenness, and social housing, amongst a lot of things that are happening in our community at the moment.
Yeah, okay, well, with that, the benefit that the youth crime is dealt with in here, I'm happy to support it.
And I'm happy to change the motion if you would like, just to have that youth crime added to the original. Yep. So that the Council endorses the development of a comprehensive view of current problems and concerns relating to community safety, crime, vulnerable persons and housing in Mount Isa via a whole government and community stakeholder consultation process, and the development of a future action plan and governance model for Mount Isa in 2023. Everyone happy with that?
Through the chair, haven't we already started having meetings with all the groups? You've already had some meetings with them.
We've been having meetings all the way through 2022, but at the moment we haven't sat down and decided to map out what the social services and the help that's currently out there is, what the gaps are, and then look at how we move forward with those organisations and the council. Now there is models out there like Logan and Gladstone. There are a few models out there that have had similar issues to what Mount Isa is facing, and they've had a lot of success. So, you know, why one thing doesn't always work for everybody, it'd be good to identify what's worked in these communities and how we can adopt it for Mount Isa.
So we've had meetings, but like shouldn't that have already been done?
No, so what the meetings were initially is looking at back to country. We also were looking at...
And could you explain back to country?
So back to country is we've got people who have come to Mount Isa, are displaced in the Leichhardt River, and we've had different groups who have got funding and have organised to get transport for these people to go home to their communities and to their homes. So that's one of the big things that has come out of that meeting. We were also trying to identify what gaps there were, you know, as in where the services are after 4, after 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and trying to understand what the current problem was. As a council, we have limited powers, but I think we could take a big leadership role in this going forward. And I think if we definitely need a whole of government approach. There's not one agency that can fix this. It needs to be local, state, federal, and every agency, non-for-profit, and especially the traditional owners involved in how we go forward.
Through the chair, I'd like to just point out that I think this really complements the motion that Mount Isa City Council's already put up with the LGAQ conference that was recently held, to do with the different levels of government, giving us an indication of what funding comes into Mount Isa to the different organisations and what their responsibilities are as well, so we can see where there's overlaps and where there's shortfalls.
Absolutely. And I think when Cairns Regional Council came to Mount Isa and we were looking at Cairns monitoring our CCTV cameras, and they actually said to us, you're not ready for that, because there's no point us monitoring your cameras when we don't know who to call. And if you're only getting the cameras monitored to call the police, then you're wasting money and resources. So it was really interesting having that sort of feedback from Cairns, and I think that's why we could...
But through the chair, that's exactly the same feedback I gave right from the start. It's no good having a system when there's not enough police here to respond. So I said that before Cairns.
Oh, you did, but what Cairns is saying is what the model that's worked for them is that they mapped out exactly what we've asked for, what services are available. So now if they find someone who has is asleep in the street, they know they can identify it on the camera, and then they can ring up the appropriate agency that is actually funded to actually go and help that person. Whereas at the moment, we don't know who's funded for what, exactly what we put through that motion. So, and I believe there's a heap of gaps. So that's when our role is to lobby on, and I'm not saying that we need more agencies, but maybe some of the agencies who are already funded could actually fill the gaps that are missing.
Yeah, through the chair, Madam Mayor, I think the community will be pleased to know that there is ongoing actions in place going on with relation to the issues that we have here in Mount Isa, and I think those issues are well known in Mount Isa and also in other regional centres too as well. I've got no issue with the body of the proposed resolution, and I think the problems of youth crime are probably answered in the first paragraph where it says current problems and concerns relating to community safety. The question I have is probably linked to Councillor Collins' question around the admission of a resolution to council at this time. So, like I say, no issue whatever with the resolution. I would just like to get some feedback from the CEO, if I could, on the standing orders in relation to introduction of resolutions.
Through Madam Mayor, I did look for through the standing orders a reference to a mayoral minute, which I haven't found, but I can certainly tell you from my experience, mayoral minutes from an industry point of view are it's almost a reserved power to the mayor that they can introduce a mayoral minute with no notice and ahead of any other business of the council. So if the convention here, you get 24 hours notice, it is just that, it's a convention. And I think you received the advice from the mayor mid-afternoon yesterday. Certainly I'm part of being responsible for that because I provide a little bit of background assistance to the mayor, even though the words are largely hers. So I'm partly responsible here for, if you like, the relatively late receipt of the item. But certainly in a technical sense, there is no problem, no impediment to dealing with this resolution today because the mayor does have, as I understand it, the authority to table a motion like this without notice.
Thank
Through
you.
the chair, I have no issue either, as long as the everything's applied consistently.
Yeah, and look, and I think the real conversation should be about the concerns of Mount Isa, not if the mayoral minute should be here, is allowed to be happen. I think we've brought up a really hot topic that really concerns the city, and I think we shouldn't steer away from that. Now, I know that the community has had enough of the crime in Mount Isa, and one of the things that's really brought it home to me is when I sat across from someone recently and they tried to tell me that this was usual for Mount Isa. I said, this is not usual for Mount Isa. I grew up in this city, and this is not usual, this crime spree that's happening. And why it has been happening and escalating over a few years now, this is not how Mount Isa has been, and it's not the way it should be going forward.
Well said, Councillor Slade. Yeah, I think there's no councillor that have any objections to the body of the resolution. Just the question was around I suppose the correctness of it and the way it comes through the two council and the councillors to make a decision on. Happy with the body. I think most of the councillors will agree with your statement. All of the councillors would agree with your statement, sorry, so that it is not the unacceptable behaviour that's been going on in Mount Isa. All of us who have been here for a long time would note that it is not what Mount Isa is about, and it's not. Something has to be done about it, and I'm pretty sure that the community are glad to see that things are happening and have been happening for some time. It's just a matter of time of getting people around the table, people who can make the decisions and take those decisions back to state government so that support can be had for all of the councils in Queensland on this subject.
Thank you, councillor. If there's no more comments, all those in favour? And that's carried. All right, this takes us now to the item 9, and there's no correspondence for that one. And then that takes us to item 10, which is the Executive Services Report. 10.1, proposed ordinary meeting dates for January to December 2023. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation, please?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll move that Council approves the following ordinary meeting dates for January to December 2023, each meeting commencing at 9 a.m. at Council Chambers, West Street, Mount Isa. Wednesday the 25th of January 2023, Wednesday the 22nd of February 2023, Wednesday the 22nd of March 2023, Wednesday the 26th of April 2023, Wednesday the 24th of May 2023, Wednesday the 21st of June 2023, Wednesday the 19th of July 2023, Wednesday the 23rd of August 2023, Wednesday the 20th of September 2023, Wednesday the 22nd of November, did I miss October? 25th of October 2023, Wednesday the 22nd of November 2023, and Wednesday the 13th of December 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
McRae.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Any comments on this one? All right, all those in favour? And Councillor Tully, just if you could give us a yes, when that'd be great. You might be on mute.
He's taken his mute off. I think the problem is on this end with the audio.
I don't know if you could do maybe a visual and we can see you put your hand up. Maybe that's the alternative because we can't hear you.
Oh, you got a hand
Okay. All right, one hand up. Thank you. Okay, so that then takes us to our next one, which is...
Through you, Madam Mayor, are we going to have someone fix the audio? Yeah, okay, thanks. Sir.
All right, so we'll just continue on. This takes us to item 11, the Corporate and Community Services Reports. 11.1, the Financial Overview Report for November 2022. Deputy Mayor, would you like to put forward the officer's recommendation?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. That Council receives and accepts the November 2022 Finance Overview Report as presented.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Stratton.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. So there's a set of reports attached there as usual. I just read against this in the context that there is a budget review later in the papers today. So I can only, at this point in time, I can just talk about the current budget, pending that one being approved later on today. Revenue is up overall by a reasonable amount, and again, expenses matching that is up as well. So the net result of we've got 280,000 deficit, but this is a better position what the budget determined at that point in time, which was about 450k better than what budget put us at. So that's quite a strong position going forward. And yeah, we have the budget review later on, which will correct some of that. So. Just highlight that the financial sustainability ratios are there. They are tanking a little bit. However, we'll have to look at that in context of a revised budget January from the first quarter. There's an outstanding age rates balance on page 35, which highlights again that the 366 days arrears are increasing quite exponentially. I've had discussions with the Director of Finance and Corporate Services about ramping up the collections and that sort of thing, and Shalare has advised that they are working on that presently. So the total age rates balances are 10.6 million at the moment. Water meter reads for the first quarter has been completed, so the water consumption note is, this is for non-residential properties, will be issued mid-December with a due date of the 13th of January. And the second quarter non-residential routes, as well as a half-yearly for all residential properties, including Camberwell, will commence on the 18th of December. And the end date for the meter reads will be the 14th of January. Thanks, Madam Mayor. I look forward to the budget review later on in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there any other comments or questions on this one before we vote? All right. All those in favour?
Yeah, can people
You're working.
hear me now?
Yep, we certainly can. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jess.
So that takes us now to item 11.2, which is the Splashes Overview Report for November 2022. Councillor Coghlan, would you like to move the officer's recommendation?
The council receives and accepts the November 2022 Splashes Overview Report as presented.
Can I get a seconder for that motion?
McRae.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Councillor Coghlan, would you like to speak on behalf of this report?
Oh, look, the only thing I'd just like to say is that it was good work to get the diving blocks constructed and up and running, especially for our swimming club who are in training and other people in training. So that's all.
Thank you. Yes, and if you haven't seen the photos or been down to the pool, they look amazing, the dive blocks. Any other comments before we vote? All right, all those in favour? Councillor Tully? Sorry, you're muted.
Yeah, favour.
Thank you, and that's carried. Okay, so that takes us now to the next one, which is 11.3, the Corporate Services Overview Report for October and November for 2022. Deputy Mayor, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, I'll move, Madam Mayor, that Council receives and accepts the October 2022 and November 2022 Corporate Services Overview Report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
McRae.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this one?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. There's a report there on the activity through the telephone and emails, and also the job cases coming through into Council each month. So they're fairly steady for the month. In fact, they're probably down in terms of the number of total telephone calls. I noticed there's a bit of a decline in the number of answered calls, so we may look at digging into those, into the reason for that, whether they're out of hours calls or some other reason. I'll just note that they're down. I think that's all for that, Madam Mayor. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Was there any comments or questions on this one?
Just so long as, I would like to know what the council is doing about the amount of calls that come through, and there's a really long wait time on them. So we are still working on the problem.
I'll direct that to...
Yep. Right, okay, no worries, thank you.
And I'll just reiterate that, so it's a resourcing issue, and hopefully after the Christmas holiday break, we should be back in full swing.
Just through you, Chair, I'd like to ask the Director to just any feedback on the bin collections. I see there's a number of reports there
We'll just get a microphone.
about missed bins, but overall, if you have any feedback on how it's travelling, that would be good.
Through the chair, so those requests are still coming through to our customer services team, and we're always contacting JJ Richards to come in and pick up the missed bins. So just encouraging the community to keep sending all those missed bin requests through us, and we can action them as soon as possible. Thank you.
Just before you finish, Chalaya, how does the program seem to be going overall?
Well, through the chair, so far it seems to be working really well. There hasn't been a high number of bins that have been missed. A lot of it, JJ Richards has been able to actually go in and provide that service. There's been a few mix-ups with the timing, because they start quite early with the contract. So I think community is still adjusting to that change in the time. But every time there's a missed bin, they will go back and actually pick it up. So just encouraging, as soon as you notice your bin has been missed, just contact council and we'll get onto it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chalaya. And yes, that's definitely a good point. For the community, Mount Isa City Council is your contact point for anything to do with your bins. So not JJ Richards, it's Mount Isa City Council. So any problems, give us a call. All right, so if there's no more comments or questions, all those in favour?
Favour.
Thank you, and that's carried. This now takes us to the item 11.4, which is Economic and Community Development Overview Report for November 2022, and I'll hand over to Councillor McRae.
I'd like to move that council receives and accepts the November 2022 Economic and Community Development Overview Report as presented.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Stratton.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton. Councillor McRae, would you like to comment on this one?
Through the chair, before Councillor McRae starts, I'm sorry I have missed this, but could I just have it noted that the Touch Association is written in there, that I'm president of the Touch Association? I'd just like it noted for the minutes.
To do with this report, Councillor Coghlan?
Yeah, just that it's got the Touch
for the 100
Association in
years?
there, but there's no
For
regular.
to do with the 100 years, is that what that's about?
No, it's in this one here,
Okay,
on page 66.
righto.
Sorry,
Okay.
Did you want me to comment
Yeah,
on the report?
we'll start with Councillor McRae's overview, and then we can have a discussion after that. So let's go with.
Okay, I'd just like to congratulate the team on the Christmas carols. It was a really successful night. The library team kicked it off up there with their performance and their reading of the book, with all the children that go to library activities getting up on stage. I've had some feedback from some of the parents whose children were involved, and they were absolutely stoked that their children had the opportunity to be on stage. And some of them, aren't necessarily kids that would normally get that opportunity. So that was really lovely feedback. And it was also great to see those ladies from the library out at Camel Wheel as well. And I'd also like to congratulate the team on organising the Camel Wheel community picnic. That was a lovely day. The children in the community out there thoroughly enjoyed it, and I must say the children were so well behaved, and they just had a lovely day. Next events coming up, we have Australia Day, we have the Sign On Expo coming up on the 4th of February, and as has been happening all year, the 100 years is still being planned for. The 100-year coordinator has been very busy getting together plans and I guess what's happening for that, and enacting all of the recommendations of the advisory committee, so that's really good to see as well. In relation to the Country University Centre, the team's still been working with the Department of Education, Skills and Employment to get that contract signed off. That still involves, looking at locations and how we can reduce costs. So that's what's happening with that at the moment.
Thank you. And with the Australia Day Awards, are nominations still open?
Good question. I didn't actually say that. I didn't actually bring that up because I wasn't sure. I was going to encourage people to apply, and then all of a sudden I thought, I better check the date on that one.
I did get an email to say that we, to promote it, and I just wasn't sure if I promoted it and then we'd closed it. But
it's just sometimes this report is often written a long time before it comes to the meeting, because in my report saying they're still planning for the Christmas carols and the community picnic.
Yeah.
So
we'll get online, everyone, and if you have someone in mind for the Australia Day Awards, please nominate them. I'm sure that if it's a couple of days late, we'll still look at it. And it's really important that this is 100 years, so we'd love to see, people who have done a lot for the Mount Isa community acknowledged. And whether you win or not, that acknowledgement is amazing. Is there any other comments on this?
Madam Mayor, I note on page 69 that the chair of the advisory committee for Lake Windara has resigned, Guy Mears. So I'd just like to, just pay tribute to his efforts and his work with the committee so far.
Yeah, and I second that. I was so disappointed to read he resigned, because he was doing such a great job. So big shoes to fill there. Thank you. And I think I would just like to also mention the Camberwell Christmas picnic, because that's probably one of my best days yet. And I was saying to the CEO that even the older kids who are usually too cool for school, you could tell they had a great time, and it was just such a great community spirit in Camberwell. So I can't wait for next year now, and hopefully it's bigger and better. Okay, so if there's no other comments, all those in favour? And that's carried.
Favour.
Thank you. And then this takes us to item 11.5, which is the library overview report for October and November for 2022. And I'll hand back over to Councillor McRae.
I'd like to move that Council receives and accepts the October 2022 and November 2022 library overview report as presented.
Can I get a second for that motion, please?
Stratton.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton. Councillor McRae, would you like to speak on behalf of this one?
Yes, I think I've already covered some of the work the library's been up to in my previous report, but I'd also like to add that the coordinator at Mount Isa City Council Library represented Mount Isa at the Queensland Public Library Association conference. The team over there are implementing RFID systems, so that is to do with security on the books, so that that technology, I guess, is placed inside the book, so you can tell if people are just walking out the door without checking them out. There's a big call for library volunteers at the moment to help out with, I think that's to do with the project to do with the 100 Years Resolute, to help identify people in older images if you've been in Mount Isa for a very long time, or just to help catalogue things if you're a new person to Mount Isa and wanting to get involved. And conversational English has been happening at the library. That's something that I was involved in last term. So people that are new to Australia that need to have some help with their English and practice, there's a session at the library for that, and they're having their Christmas party, they've had it, on the 25th of November.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Any other comments or questions on this one? Okay, all those in favour?
Favour.
And that's carried. That now takes us to item 11.6, which is the RADF Council-initiated project. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll move that Council endorses the Regional Arts Development Fund Committee recommendation to support the 2023 Queensland Ballet Community Engagement and Education Tour as a Regional Arts Development Fund Council-initiated project.
Seconded, Coghlan.
Thank you. Would you like to speak?
Yeah,
about
sure,
this
Madam
one?
Mayor. Look, this is a great little project. It follows on from 2 years of support for Queensland Ballet to engage with the Mount Isa community. There are fairly active, quite active, I should say, School of Dance, for example, ballet groups in town, and they gain a lot out of this from their families and for their participating children and that. So yeah, I'm really supportive of this going ahead. It's anticipated the cost is likely to be around $5,000 in 2023, which is a bit above what we've paid in previous years, but that's due to, as everyone's aware, the significantly increasing costs of transport and other things, accommodation, that sort of thing at the moment. Yeah, I'll move that. Thanks.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can I get a seconder for that?
Oh, seconded already.
Oh,
I
sorry.
Seconded, yep.
Sorry. Any other comments?
Yeah, I'd just like to comment that I understand there's a little girl from Julia Creek that's dancing internationally over the holidays. So I guess it just shows that you can have a career or, you know, go to the heights of ballet no matter where you live. And I think opportunities like this are really important for our community to give kids that exposure.
Exactly. Well said. All right. All those in favour? And that's carried. The next one is 11.8, which is bad debt write-off for sundry debitor. Oh, missed one, sorry, my apologies. 11.7, amendment to the Register of Cost Recovery Fees. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation?
Yeah, I'll move that. Thanks, Madam Mayor. Thank you. Recommendation there is council approves an amendment under section 1703 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 to Council's Register of Cost Recovery Fees 2022-2023 for the inclusion of special adoption fees for the sale of an animal from the council's animal management facility that is only valid during specific periods as set by council's executive management team.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton.
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Councillor Stratton, would you like to speak on behalf of this one?
Yes, due to the Christmas period, we seem to get a lot of animals down the animal management facility, handed in for whatever case. And this will just hopefully alleviate the problem of getting some of those animals rehomed. Especially the dates will be specified by council when we do it, so hopefully our furry friends can get a new home and get back to doing what they do.
Definitely, and it's good to see that Mount Isa City Council is supporting our fairy friends because they are still Mount Isa pets. Any other comments?
Yeah, through the chair, Madam Mayor. Hopefully the motion will create an incentive for our community to come up and adopt an animal. The incentive is around, I guess, the registration fees and the desexing and that sort of thing. So hopefully it'll make people think too about what animals are, living creatures, and they are gifts at Christmas time that may or may not be here next Christmas, and it creates an issue with animal management in the community. I think the incentive will be taken up and hopefully by the community, and I think it's a good option to euthanizing animals, and it's a good incentive, and I'm happy to support.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. All right, if there's no more comments, all those in favour?
Favour.
And that's carried. And that takes us now to 11.8, which is the bad debt write-off for sundry debitor paintball. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation?
Yeah, I'll move, Madam Mayor. The council approves to write off bad debt for $2,327.54 for reserve lease fees issued for the periods 13th of the 1st 21 to the 12th of the 1st 22, 13th of the 1st 22 to the 14th of the 4th 22, and the 13th of the 4th 22 to the 30th of 6th 22. To sundry debtor account holder paintball under section 7.3 of Council Sundry Debt Recovery Policy.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Stratton.
Thank you, councillor Stratton. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this one?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. So this is a request for hardship, and the group that was running the lease had low membership numbers and little interest in the public utilising the services of paintball, so they've been unable to financially maintain the lease fees associated with the lease.
Thank you. Any other comments on this one?
Through the chair, is it usual that we name the organisation?
That's a good question.
Just, sorry, through the chair too, I just wanted to know whether if we are taking it back or what happens with the liability there while the fees aren't being paid. Is it still in paintball hands or is it back to us?
It says we've revoked the lease 1st of July.
So it's coming back to us.
It's us.
Did you hear that, councillor Tully?
No, I didn't, sorry.
So it does say that we revoked the lease on the 1st of July. But
Okay, thank you.
But if you would like more information, the director's happy to get you a bit more information on that one. Okay. All right. Is there any other questions? All those in favour? Councillor, and yep, thank you, and that's carried. Okay, so that now takes us to 11.9, which is the Audit and Risk Management Committee Charter version 7. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation, please?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll move that Council adopts the Audit and Risk Management Committee Charter version 7 as presented.
Can I get a second for that motion?
Stratton.
Second.
Take Mr. Tully.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Tully? Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this one?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. This is a routine review of the charter, and this is a new version 7. It's done through the Audit and Risk Committee as well, but also to ensure that we maintain standards within the charter that match the compliance that we need to be under for audit reviews and such. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, all those in favour? And that's carried. That takes us to 11.10, which is the minutes of the North West Motorsport Advisory Committee held on the 15th of September 22. Deputy Mayor, would you like to talk?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Again, the minutes of I'll move that the minutes of the North West Advisory Committee meeting held on the 15th of September 2022 be received and recommendations be noted.
Can I get a second for that motion?
McRae.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. So this is just to advise the council that the North West Motorsports Advisory Committee is still meeting, and every 3 months we're progressing along the path of the feasibility study and the early concept designs for the project. So yeah, these minutes are just confirming that discussions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, all those in favour? And that's carried. That now takes us to 12, which is Infrastructure Services Reports and the Major Projects Overview Report, and I'll hand over to Councillor Tully.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm having trouble with the camera and phone, the mic and everything, so. Council recommends and receives and accepts the November 2022 Major Projects Overview Report as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Stratton.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton. Councillor Tully, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, just a quick overview. The following capital projects are underway. The Family Fun Park, the skate park, shade structures are being completed and all play equipment has arrived. Construction of the basketball court at Lions Park has been delayed due to material and wet weather. Centennial Place, the construction tender has been awarded and meetings have been conducted and they should be on site late January, early February. Council applied and received 2.2 for Flora Downs Road, Gunpowder Road, Lake Nash Road, Lily Waterhole, Riversley Road, Old Herbert Jail Road, Yelvertoft Road and the Barclay Downs reconstruction works. That's it, thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Any comments on this one?
Yeah, I did ask in the workshop if we could change the construction of the basketball court at Lions Park. It's been delayed and it said the forecasted completion date is early December. We've gone past that.
Okay, noted. We'll get that sorted.
Just so it's
Thank you.
noted, please.
Yeah, just noted through the chair, Madam Mayor, that construction obviously has been held up by weather and availability of materials. There is a construction going on there this morning on my way to the meeting. There's concrete being poured, so midway through December, I'd say towards the end of December, that will be completed. It's something that the community's been keeping an eye on and wondering, but it is going ahead reasonably well now, and hopefully by the end of the month we'll be finished.
Well, I bet you there's a few council staff that are a bit worried because I know I'm praying for rain. So there's a few council staff are probably hoping the wet holds off until after the concrete's poured. All right, any other comments on this?
Madam Mayor, could I just thank the staff for putting the report together. The photos in there look fantastic. I think making it really, really exciting to see this taking shape, and I think the community will be very, very pleased when it finally is finished. Yeah, thank you.
I know my kids are dying to go along. So we've driven past a few times, and I've showed them a few, from outside. So hopefully, mid-January. All right. If there's no more comments, all those in favour. Councillor Tutt. Thank you, and that's carried. And that takes us now to item 13, which is general business, and we may have a councillor wanting to bring some general business
Through the
up.
chair, there's
Water and sewer.
Oh, did I miss one? Sorry.
12.2, there's a few there.
Ah, sorry. Yep.
We just did 12.1.
I've just tried to jump 100. Okay, 12.2, which is water and sewage overview report. I'll hand over to...
Thanks, Madam Mayor. The recommendation there is council receives and accepts the October-November 2022 water and sewage overview report.
Thank you. Thank you, councillor. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
seconded.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Councillor Stratton, would you like to speak on behalf of that one?
Yes, I think people are mostly sick of hearing it, but we are starting to install some more smart meters because some more have arrived. The ongoing saga of those water meters definitely is a thorn in council's side, but nothing we can do about it. But we are starting to install more now.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on this one? All right. All those in favour? Councillor Tully? And that's carried. Okay, so 12.3 is the retrospective approval for a variation to contract, which is 2022-72T on the Riversley Road. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation for this one?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. The recommendation that council confirm the actions undertaken by the officers to continue with the separable portion of the existing contract for the construction, preparation and sealing by the contractor whilst on site as a variation to the original contract value of $488,488.48, excluding GST.
Thank you, councillor. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Councillor Tully, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The works have been undertaken. Council contracted out a significant project on Riversley Road funded through the Queensland Road Resilience Funding and the DRFA Betterment Category B and Category E, and council contribution in addition to previous TIDS funding. Stage 1 of the project was to commence the treatment of a 6-kilometre section that was identified as having issues. And the 6-kilometre section was programmed originally over 3 years. However, due to successful funding application, the DRFA contributions and contractors working under budget was able to be fast-tracked, and this has now been completed. At the time of tendering and council report, council had not received the official approval from the DRFA Betterment Category B and Category E fund. So what it means is just while they're on site, there's some other works that need to be completed and that will be completed. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Any other comments?
Yeah, through the chair, Madam Mayor, it's great to see that council is ongoing in improving the access to our communities through our local government area. This motion allows for that very unstable piece of road to be sealed. Every time it rains, it gets washed out. Access is limited to the north of our local government area, and it's great to see that there's the opportunity there to improve our road access across our local government area.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Any other comments? Okay, all those in favour? And that's carried. Okay, that takes us now to item 12.4, which is the administration air conditioning replacement. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation?
Yeah, I'll move, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam. You're all right. Go, Phil.
Sorry, councillor. That council awards contract 2022-100 to Cummings Air Conditioning and Sheet Metal for the sum of $429,163.03, excluding GST, for the supply and installation of air conditioning units for council's administration building.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Stratton.
Thank you, councillor Stretton. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this one?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. So it's been identified that the council air conditioning system is due for replacement, and this is that contract to take care of that. There was been a budgeted for in the 22-23 capital budget for replacement, so it's well within that. And as I understand it, the new system should reduce our running costs because of the efficiencies and the modern technology that's involved with the system. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any other comments?
Is that going to cause an issue that is $3 out?
Yeah, sorry, just... Yeah, well, I have asked several times when these tenders are being evaluated that we get the complete story, not just the awarded company. And we still don't seem to be getting the whole story.
All right, thank you, councillor. Well, that's something we can improve on.
It's just if someone comes from the public and asks someone, you know, why this certain thing was done. I mean, we've got some background on why it was done. I mean, I've got no problem with the process, but I'd just like all the councillors to be notified of why it was awarded to this company.
Through the chair, at the workshop, didn't we say this was the only one that came in within budget? And I think we discussed it at the workshop that you were away, councillor Tully.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
or am
correct.
I wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably have it in the report.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, this has happened in the past for the council to bring it up, so it's something we can improve on.
Yeah, I agree, through the chair, that yeah, it'd be good to have that scenario, you know, about why it was selected.
Yeah.
And we have had that in the past, so I
Yeah.
don't see it should be a big thing. Yeah, thanks.
And I can vouch that the air conditioning system obviously knows that we had placed some money in the budget because it has actually failed, and I do not have air conditioning in my office. and haven't had it for a month, and I probably won't have it for another couple of months, but anyway. So it's come at the right time. All right, all those in favour? Councillor Tully?
Are you in or out, Councillor Tully?
And that's carried. So that now takes us to general business, and I believe, have we got some general business for our councillors? Yep.
Yeah, I've just got a few things I'd like to talk on. One is I'd just like to say congratulations to Renee Johnson, who is a local photographer in Mount Isa. She entered a photo in the Independent Photo Company. They do a photo comp. It's an international photo comp. And it had a open call, which is you can enter whatever photo you want, landscape, abstract, whatever. Anyway, she entered, and it was a picture of her twin girls in the creek taken from above, and she actually won the competition. It was an international one. The judge was by the chief editor of the National Geographic, so I think she was over the moon that she'd won, and she also emailed and thanked the lady who judged it, and she actually got an email back from her saying that she was really impressed with all the photos that she put in. So I just think we need to acknowledge, like, we have so many small business people here out in the middle of nowhere doing all this great work, and I know not only Renee, but there's a lot of other photographers here that do a lot of good work in our community. The next thing I want to just reiterate from what the Mayor has said and what Councillor McRae has said to people in the community to nominate someone for the Australia Day Awards. It does two things. Even if they don't win, it still gives recognition, especially to us as councillors, as what's going on in the community. And I know there's such great people out there doing great work day in, day out in our community, and you mightn't think it's important, but I think put their name on the paper, nominate them. There's enough categories there, and get in and do that would be great. And then the other thing, it was a very sad day on the 5th of December, because the Mount Isa Softball Association handed the keys back to council of Alexandra Oval, and I'd just like to pay tribute to Karen and Wayne, Sue and Ray, Brenda and Amanda, who did a lot of work down there, and when they handed it back to council, it's a really good condition. There's no rubbish down there, and I mean, I know these people, it wasn't just a few hours, it was actually weeks and weeks that they went down there, so they didn't want to hand it back to council in a bad state. So it was a very sad day. Softball's been going for about 54 years in Mount Isa. We've had Australian, Queensland representative, we've won national titles, we've had people that have gone on to international careers over in America with softball. But in saying that, there are a few people left that are still trying to do a junior comp next year in the cooler months. So I would just say to the public out there, if there are any people, like when it does come up on Facebook or in notices that they are trying, like really support these people. And I know it is hard with 7 on 7 off now, but even if people can give an hour, and I know there's a lot of good softball people in Mount Isa that could come down and help. We want our juniors to be able to know what softball's all about, and even if they play it for one term at school, at least they've had the opportunity, and they can go on to better things. And we do know, like we've got Sienna Wilson that has travelled array to Toowoomba. I mean, she's in the Australian squad and is touring, I think, New Zealand next year. And there's a few other representative girls that are still getting coached by people in the Mount Isa Softball Association. So even though they mightn't have a comp here, there's still girls going away for representative titles. And the next thing, the Police Link. I'm always going on about Police Link, but I had this week, I think one of Brett Peterson has I'd just like to give him a bit of a challenge. He's put out a sign on a truck and he parks it round that our crime statistics have gone up by 30% with the postcode 4825. And I know, I don't know why he did that, but the thing is, I'd like him to probably put the police link number on there, which is 131 444, and to encourage people to ring up, because if the statistics don't grow bigger, we're not going to get more police here. And I know I keep harping on it, but it is something. PoliceLink is not run very well. There's not enough people working there. I know I've written to the government time and time again about how the wait time is so long. People give up, they hang up. That's a crime statistic that doesn't get put to our organisation. So just to him, just put the PoliceLink number there on the bottom of it or the top of it, wherever, and just encourage people to do that. That's all. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, councillor, and some really good comments there. Thank you. And I think it's getting close to Christmas now, and there's no doubt that, there's going to be a few people going away. And it's always good to have a chat to your neighbours, let them know that there shouldn't be anyone in your house if you're going to be away, so that they know if they see some unusual activity, they should be reporting it, or even pass on your number so they can contact you and let you know if they see some unusual activity. But I think as a community, we need to be looking out for each other and our neighbours, especially over the holidays when people can be away. All right, so that now takes us into confidential. So before we adjourn for confidential, I know that general public will have to leave and there might be some people who turn off their live stream, but just want to wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas. If you are travelling away for the holidays, travel safe and have a very, very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And next year, we're turning 100. So it's very exciting times for Mount Isa. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting for 10 minutes and we will recommence at 10:30 in confidential. Thank you, everybody.
Coggo, that picture's at Outback at Isa, that photo.
Hey?
That photo's at Outback at Isa, up in the art gallery. People can go see it there.
What photo?
Renee's. It's been there.
Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't know that.